What's up? What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Friday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great, and I hope you had a great week. If you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of most of my videos. So what's up, man? What are you guys dealing with? It's been a minute, I know, but I'm here, I'm back. And this video, I just want to be about advice. And I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing some videos that are just strictly advice from an ex-con who turned his life around to a bunch of people that are looking for these answers. So I'm trying to figure out what to call it, you know, something like that, like Canadian prison stories, advice with, I don't know, whatever it is, right? If anybody has a good idea, then you can leave it in a comment or something like that. But today, I want to speak, the very first piece of advice I want to give is the most basic, and it might come across as harsh, and I'll explain. And that piece of advice is, life sucks, get over it. Get over it. And I know that that's easier said than done, and I know in certain circumstances it may even be impossible. But it's never good to live that way, to live confined or constrained by an idea of who you are. So for the longest time, right, I accepted being a loser, being somebody who spent my whole life in prison, in and out on the installment plan, was never going to have a future, never going to have anything. This was an understanding that I had, an acceptance that I had. But I wanted to turn my life around. And let me tell you something right now. If I didn't listen to that advice from myself, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I would still be in the shitnado, as Mr. Lady from Trailer Park Boys says. I'd still be in that goddamn shitnado, caught up in the system and trapped. Life sucks. Get over it. Now, for somebody like me, I've been somebody who's dealt with sexual abuse, who's dealt with my brother being lost to my family on a homicide and all the trials and tribulations that went with that, and just a difficult upbringing despite the fact that I had my family and my parents have been married my whole life, and on the outside looking in, it would seem like a great existence for somebody to be raised in. But circumstantially, it wasn't. And not because the family wasn't great or my parents didn't do a good job. It's just, it's really hard to manage 5 kids when one has gone through a murder trial and the other refuses to listen. And that's who I was. I refused to listen. And I felt sorry for myself. Like, for the biggest portion of my life, I felt sorry for myself. I was a victim, okay? And I allowed myself to use that as a way to justify bad behavior and not striving for anything better than prison or jail and addiction. Now, 25 years is, even 27 years is what I'll say, but 25 years, caught up, parole, probation, addiction, prison, whatever it is, 25 years of my life gone out the window. And when I sit back and I think now, like, man, if I would have just gone to therapy, bit the bullet, and said, fuck it, right? I can't allow this stuff to tear my life down and make me throw everything away. It just didn't seem fair to me. So I started working on turning it around. And it wasn't easy. It was really hard for me to accept criticism from people. It was really hard for me to look back at myself in the mirror and actually say, you were wrong here, you were wrong here, you were wrong here, you were wrong here. But when I actually started to do that, and I can see all the seemingly unrelated decisions, all the bad decisions that led me down this path over and over and over and over again. It's right there. And the whole time, all I was doing was making excuses. At one point in my life, I thought it was literally impossible to turn it around. I thought probation or parole was impossible. Bail's impossible. Quitting hard drugs is impossible. And following rules is impossible. This is the way that I felt at one point in my life. And I was totally okay with living as a nomad and hoping that maybe one day it turned around. But guess what? It's not going to turn itself around for you. You got to grab life by the fucking balls and you got to take over. And if you're not driven or motivated to be better, then guess what you're not going to do? And that was my situation for the longest time. And one day I woke up and I just started looking around. And I said, what am I doing? Like, seriously, what am I doing? Do I want to live? Do I want to have a job? Do I want to have the possibility at a retirement where I'm not working till 75 years old if I ever do get out of prison? What do I want for myself? And I had to really start working on all the trauma and issues that I had in the past, because this could no longer be an obstacle for me. This could no longer be an excuse or a reason for me to justify my bad behavior. And that's exactly what I did for 25 years. A perfect example is the day that I took off from the halfway house after getting beer thrown on me, right? Minor situation, catastrophized, bad behavior justified, feeling sorry for myself, turning a 2 years, 3 month sentence or whatever it was into a 5 year, 9 month, 1 day sentence, and almost ruining my whole life. It's crazy, man. It's crazy when I sit back and I think about a lot of the things I was okay doing. And I don't want to see any of you doing it. I want to see every single person from this channel who's thinking about going to prison or possibly thinking about getting into drugs and stuff. Just know you're setting yourself down a path of despair. Sure, there'll be little sprinkles of joy in between all the despair, but ultimately most of your life is going to be pain, it's going to be sorrow, it's going to be prison, jail, and seeing people die. So turn it around now. No more excuses. My advice is, life sucks. Get over it. Nobody's life is easy. Nobody's. And the more responsible you are, the harder it is. And it's just the way it is. And some days it'll feel like you're working to live. And some days it'll feel like you're exhausted and you don't want to do it anymore. But guess what? At the end of the day, I get to keep all my property. None of it is attained by crime. I get to feel good about myself and the progresses that I'm making in my life. And if I would have just done this 20 years ago, I'd be in a real good position now. So take my advice from somebody who's been through what I've been through. It can always get worse. It can. It can always get deeper and deeper and deeper. You have to decide that this idea of the perfect life, like life is just going to be easy. I'm going to coast through. I'm going to have everything that I need. I'm never going to have stress. I'm never going to be depressed. This is not a reality. Nobody goes through life feeling that way. Life sucks. Get the fuck over it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I know it's easier said than done, but the only person that can do it is you. If you want to have any chance at a life, if you want to have any chance at a family or like a non-dysfunctional existence, then right now you have to say to yourself, life sucks most of the time, and I need to get the fuck over it, turn shit around, and turn my life into what I want it to be, and stop making excuses. Love each and every one of you at the new Matt Clark.